welcome to the August tutorial. This month is for the month of August, and the gemstone is Peridot. So if you had a birthday in the month of August, happy belated birthday. I'm a bit late posting this content, but I hope you had a wonderful and joyous birthday. So if you're interested in how I achieved this look, then keep on watching. Hi everybody. So today we'll be going through a couple of new products that I'll be trying for the first time and products that I've been wearing but I haven't been wearing makeup on top of them, so it will be somewhat of a first try. So the first one is the LYS Think Bright Glow Hydrate Serum. So I have been wearing this. As you can see, the bottle is somewhat, there's some missing fluid in here. So I actually really like this product because it's considered a serum, but I actually use this as a moisturizer. My skin is very sensitive, so when I put certain things on, like if the lotion is too heavy, my skin will start to get little white heads and pimples from it. So I can't wear lotions that are super heavy on my face. And for me, this is a good medium in a sense because it gives me the hydration that the lotion would give me, but it's very lightweight and I really like it. So I use this in the morning when I wake up, and I use it before I go to bed at night just to give me a boost of hydration. One of the uses that it said it can be used for, apparently it's supposed to be really good for the skin. It has vitamin C and hyaluronic acid. So it can also be used as a replacement for a primer. As always, before I do any of these tutorials, I always wash my face and put on moisturizer, and I do that about an hour to 30 minutes before I start filming, just so my skin can be hydrated to the best extent before I film. However, since this is supposed to be able to be used as a primer, I want to see if it can be used as a primer. And since this is for our August month, one of the things that I'm thinking about is, this was my grandma's birth month. I was very close to my grandma. She passed away in early 2020, right before the pandemic started. And since this is her birth month, I just remember in August, and Peridot being her birthstone, one of the first gifts that I was able to buy my grandma with my own money was a little ring that had her birthstone in it. And you know, back when Sears was still open, and probably some other stores, they would have in the jewelry section, they have that little stand where you could get rings for like fashion rings for like $10, $11 or whatever. And so the first gift I bought my grandma was a fashion ring that had her birthstone in it. And so I'm just thinking, when I was growing up, my grandma was significantly older. So she had my mom when she was 40. My mom had me when she was 24. So my grandma was already 64 when I was born. And the memories that I actually have, my grandma was like 70. So my grandma has always been of age. She's always been like a senior citizen for my whole lifetime. And so she passed away. She was 96. So she didn't wear like makeup or anything like that. She, you know, had gotten to the point in life where, you know, that wasn't a priority. But when I would go to the store with my grandma, I'd be like, Grandma, you know, why don't you wear this? And I remember we were in I think we were in Walmart, and I was like, Grandma, why don't you get this lipstick? And it was a red lipstick, and my grandma was like a church-going, faithful woman every Sunday. So, you know, red lipstick is like woman of the night color. And I'm just talking to give this time to soak into my skin. One of the things that you want to do when you apply skincare or a primer or anything of that nature is to give it time to settle into the skin, to do what it's supposed to do. Hyaluronic acid and vitamin C are good for brightening the skin and not like removing, like lightening your skin or bleaching your skin in that sense. But where you have dark circles and hyperpigmentation, is good to lighten these spots where you have darkness within the skin. And hyaluronic acid is good for moisturizing and plumping the skin. So back to the red lipstick. So, you know, red was the woman of the night color. You don't wear red. You can wear whatever you want to, but don't wear red. And so when I brought it to her, I was halfway expecting, you know, her to be like, no, we don't wear that color. And she looked at me and started laughing. And I said, Grandma, why don't you wear this? And she said, how much is it? And it was Wet n Wild. So, you know, back then, this was probably 2000s, early 2000s. It was like 99 cents or $1.99. I was like, it's 99 cents. And she was like, okay, I'll get it. I was shocked off my feet. I couldn't believe it. And so I was hovering around her like, Grandma, when you gonna wear it? When you gonna wear it? And she actually wore it to church. I was so surprised. So, and then like going through, my grandma used to have like this big vanity of stuff. And, sometimes she would say, go in there and clean up my vanity. And I'd be like, Grandma, you do know I'm going to have to come out here every 5 minutes to ask you what you want to keep and what you don't want to keep. So I would go through it, and I found where Grandma had makeup, like old makeup, like in my mind, because like I said, my grandma has always been an elder, always been older, and she's never worn makeup in front of me. I just never thought that she wore makeup. And so she had this whole thing of makeup that was like buried up under stuff, all these different shades of lipstick. And I was like, I'm going to put some of this on. And at that time, you don't think about, you know, lipstick that's probably 20 years old at this point, putting it on your lips that is probably like way beyond infested with bacteria. So I was just trying on all. The crazy thing about it is all of it was still in pristine condition, like she hadn't even worn it. And so, you know, I was putting on the lip colors. Shockingly enough, I didn't break out, thank God. But yeah, she came in there with me, and we were just trying on makeup and stuff like that. So I have those memories. They're very, very far and in between. These memories probably happened over the course of like 10 years, over the span of 10 years, one in the beginning, one in the middle, and one at the end. But those are the things that I think about, you know, with my grandma in the month of August, because that was her birth month. So to be able to do a makeup tutorial that has her birthstone, and I have, you know, these memories of grandma with my makeup, is very touching to me. So with all that being said, we'll move on. Ooh, let me do my lip treatment. So I'm still going to use my Fenty Beauty lip scrub. And I'm going to go ahead on and put this on my lips. My lips are super dry today. And let that settle in. While that's settling in, I'm going to go in with my McGRATH Skin Fetish Foundation, and I use the shade Medium 18. This is a perfect match for me. So this is like anytime I need to do a shade reference for foundation, I use this as my shade reference. And so I'm actually going to put it on my hand, and my hand is very, there you go. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. Apologies. The whole time I've been filming, I was wondering, why is it so dark? Y'all have just been seeing me with my bathroom light. So I'm just going to take my IT Cosmetics heart-shaped brush. This is my favorite brush. And I'm just going to stamp this in the skin. So anytime I would tell people, don't use your hand to put on foundation, because it's really unsanitary. Whatever germs that you have on your hands, you're essentially pressing into the skin. However, I do realize that essentially what happens and why people use the back of their hand to warm up the product. So meaning that it will be easier to move over the skin, easier to glide, and then easier to pick up and work into the skin. When you apply product directly on the skin, sometimes it can take a little bit of time for the product to work into the skin because it has to warm up on your skin, especially if it's a thicker formula. For watery formulas like this, is not necessarily needed to warm it up, but when you have a thicker foundation, possibly something like Huda Beauty's Luminous Matte Foundation, that's a thicker consistency. So when you put it on your hand and take your brush or your sponge and kind of work it in, that warms up the product. So when you apply it onto the skin, you get a smoother application. So that's just a little tip in case you go somewhere to get your makeup done and the person is warming it up on their hand. That's why they're doing it. Personally, whenever I have clients, I still don't warm anything on the back of my hand. I put it on a mixing medium or a mixing palette and work it into the palette to break it down and then apply it to the skin. If you put anything on your hand and do my face, put it on my face, I will not go back to you in the future because I just think that's very insanitary. But that's just me personally. So, you know, if you're cool with that, then that's fine. All right. So moving on, I'm going to do concealer. And today I'm using a new concealer. This is Kosas. I have the number 07. So this is my first time using this concealer. So I'm going to just use the 3 dots that I usually use. And I'm going to let it dry down. So I've let concealer dry down before, but I still don't think I've let it dry down as long as I see other people let their concealers dry down, just because I'm not comfortable with doing it. However, I do like the way that their concealer looks. Like mine looks fine, but I just want to actually try to let it dry down as long as I see other people do it. So that's why I say today is kind of one of those situations where I'm trying new things to see how it works, to see if I like it, so forth and so on. While that's going on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my eyebrows, and I have my absolute favorite brow item. First, I'm just going to brush. Okay, brush through my eyebrows here. My little spoolie was cutting up, so it was coming out of the top here, so had to screw that back in. But the Pro Contour, or the Brow Contour Pro by Benefit, this is my absolute favorite brow product. I have legitimately been using this for years, and I was in Sephora a couple of years ago and I just happened to see it. As I've stated several times before, I've never been a big eyebrow person. I've never necessarily needed to do much to my eyebrows other than just brush them. So I never had brow products as a priority. When I started freelancing to do makeup, I realized that I needed to have a brow product to use on my clients. And so Benefit has always been what I consider the go-to brow products. When people talk about Benefit, primarily you hear about their brows. For me, Benefit has always been my favorite mascara brand. I love their mascaras. Absolutely love them. Bad Girl Bang is my favorite. Before that, it was the It's Real formula. And then before that, it was the Roller formula. So I have always been a big fan of their mascaras. So I just happened to be going through the store. I asked one of the consultants and they told me about the brow pencil, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw this, and the reason I like it is because it has everything in one. So I don't know if you remember when we were kids, they used to have pens where you could, you know, flick it down and change the color that you wanted to, and it was like one pen, but it had all the different colors. I used to love those back when you would have to like grade each other's paper and you would have to use red to grade, you know. I don't know if kids still do that today, but back in the day when they allowed us to do that, we could. So this works in that same way. You have your dark colors. I have 5, which is the deep brown, black brown one. They have a number 4, which is black brown, but it's light. So you have dark brown, black, and then you have your highlight colors. So where a lot of people use concealer to go around and clean up their eyebrows, that color is already included, and you have 2. So you have, you know, one for lighter skin tones and one for deeper skin tones. And then it's really the same. So people who have black hair or brown hair, or who just prefer to have lighter brows. So when I would use this on my clients, it literally made my life so much easier. I didn't have to switch between all of these different products to use. I could go in and contour the way I wanted to. And the only thing that I was concerned, and when I say contour, I mean like go in and, you know, highlight up under the brow bone and clean up. Excuse me, my nose is itching today. One of the things I was concerned about is that the highlighter color, or the color that I would use to clean up, might not actually clean up or like hide the hairs that were out of place or so forth and so on. And it does a fantastic job of that. So I've loved it ever since. And then they stopped selling it in the US. So I had this old one for years, and I was like, I really need to replace this. I thought that they had discontinued it. And I was so upset. And so one day, earlier this year, I was like, let me go on the Benefit website and see if they still sell it. And they did. They just no longer sell it in the US. They sell it in the UK. So I went to Cult Beauty and bought them on Cult Beauty. So they have been replaced. So my favorite product is back in business, because I was trying all these new products and I'm not feeling it. If I don't have to use all those products, then I don't want to. I don't want to have to use a concealer. I don't want to have to use all of a brow pencil and all of that. So I think my concealer has set. So I'm going to go in. Oh, it does make a difference. It definitely does. It's spread out very easily. I don't know if it's just the concealer itself, or is this what's supposed to happen when you let it dry down? Oh, okay. And I was a little concerned, you guys, when I looked at this color and I put it up against my face. I was like, this is gonna be a little light. It's neutral. All of the foundations that I have been buying as of late have been neutral undertones, and I think they match me a lot better. I was always initially going for a golden undertone, and the colors would be off, and I could never figure out why, and it was because I was purchasing the wrong undertone. So I typically go for neutral or olive. If they don't have olive, I go for neutral. If they have olive, I go for olive. And if they are, 100% on point and have olive neutral, that's what I go to. So and that's what I discovered with my Pat McGrath. The one that I was matched to was an olive base, and I was like, yes. So it was something that was very eye-opening for me. So back to eyebrows. And so I know that I'm going a little bit out of order here, but this is just some things that I want to try, and talking while I try doing them. So I'm going to use the 24-hour brow setter from Benefit. This is actually something that I saw on YouTube as of late. So I just got the clear one, and people are using this to set their brows first and then go in with whatever brow pencil that you want to use to do your brows. So I said, well, let me try and see if this makes a difference. Like I said, with me, brows really are a trial and error type situation. And it's not something that I typically spend money on. This brow gel that I'm using, I got the mini version of it. I think this was $14. Yeah, I typically don't spend any money on brow products unless I absolutely have to. So for me, spending money on brow products is like me buying a palette from somewhere, and clearly I need to replace this. So I went on BH Cosmetics and purchased a new one because clearly this one is on its last leg, y'all. And I don't want to let it go. I've literally had this brush. I've probably had this brush 10 years. It's beyond time for it to go. But yeah, I'm sad to see it go. Okay. And it just went itself. It said, please stop using me. Okay. I got it. So I'm going to go ahead and go in with the brow definer. Oh. And I'm just going to go in and start filling in. Oh, how I've missed you. I literally had this in my brow kit and I was like, I'm not going to use it because it's so old. It needs to be thrown away. But I just couldn't bring myself to part with it because I couldn't replace it and I hadn't used all the product in it. And I was like, I feel like this is just bacteria waiting to happen inside of this, but I can't let it go right now. So I'm glad I was able to finally find that they still sell this, and even though it's only in the UK, it's still accessible through Cult Beauty. So I'm thankful for Cult Beauty, or else I think I would have been even more upset because I knew that they had it and I couldn't get it in the US. So and what I like is this black is dark, but you can control how intense you want the black to be, if that makes sense. There are some products out there where the black is so intense, like even using a light hand, it's still too dark. So it's been so long since I used this. I don't actually remember using black with this, but we shall see. And so in order to make the product come out, you just twist it and it will come out at the end. So and if you're curious about the colors, this is the light definition, or the light contour color. And when I say contour, I just mean concealer color here. The darker concealer color, I guess that's better to say, this is the black. And then let me do the brown. And so that's the black brown right here. I probably should have used this color. The black is a little bit dark for me, but that's neither here nor there. And just remember that this is on top of the foundation here. So the color might be just a little off because it's on top of my foundation. So now I'm just gonna go in and clean up. And I feel like with brows, it's one of those things, when you find the right thing for you, it makes you more inclined to use or to do more things with it. For me, I think brows is the most challenging thing for me because I don't necessarily have to do my own brows. I really just do brows on my client. Typically when I do my own makeup, I don't do anything to my brows except brush them. On a special occasion, I will go in and do brows, but majority of the time I do nothing. So when I found this product, that's when I actually started doing my eyebrows. And everybody was like, something on your face looks different. I can't tell what it is, but something, what did you do different? And it was always on the times when I would actually do my eyebrows. So people who know you will notice like subtle differences. And the only thing you have to be mindful of is just a little area down here, just to make sure that you're wiping off, like if you use black, to wipe it off, because you can kind of see it smear into the color a little bit here, but that's nothing, that's not a big deal because you can go in and just fix it. So for my contour color, I could use a color that's a little bit lighter. I probably could go and get pen 4 for me and use it, and it would be fine. But the dark one also works, so it's not a big deal. All right, so I switched over to my Mary Kay eyebrow and eyeliner pencil, or excuse me, brush, so I can go through and brush my eyebrows since my other one died on camera. Like, I know the brush is just an inanimate object, y'all, but I have literally had that brush forever, and it's been with me everywhere. Like every apartment I've ever lived in, I've had that brush. It wasn't being used until more recent years, but still, it was still traveling with me. It was down for the cause, whatever cause I was doing. Okay, there we go. All right. And like I said, I typically don't spend a lot of time on my brows, so I'm good with this. So now I'm going to go ahead and highlight. And I would have done this before I did my eyebrows, but I actually kind of wanted to get back in practice with my eyebrows, because I haven't done makeup in a while, you guys. It's been a good little while. I feel like I want to be a little bit more highlighted up under. And I'm wondering, even though this color looks like it's going to be super light on me, once I actually put it on, it blends into the skin really, really well. So I don't think I was expecting that. So I'm just bringing some brightness to my face where the sun would naturally hit you. So giving myself some dimension in the skin here. So I can definitely see it lightening up going down my bridge line. I just think I was expecting it to be much, much lighter. I'm not mad about this at all. And people have been giving stellar reviews on this Kosas concealer. It's very hydrating, and it's good for people with mature skin. So if you're of a mature age, it does very well with aging skin. If you have fine lines or wrinkles, little crow's feet around that area, it does a good job of not making them look more pronounced, which is something that can happen. The older you get, certain things start to settle in your wrinkle lines, and it makes it look more prominent, drawing more attention to areas that you don't necessarily want attention drawn to. So I actually really like this. It's very lightweight. I don't feel anything up under my eyes. I really like the way it feels. I'm just really, really shocked by this color. And it could be me. Remember, I'm in lights, so I was just looking down at the mirror, but I think this blended out very, very well. I think I could stand to go a shade lighter just to give more of a highlighted effect, but it looks really good. It looks really natural. I really like it. Okay, so now I'm going to powder up under my eyes with some translucent powder, and I'm going to be using One Size from One Size Beauty, which is by Patrick Starr. I have been watching Patrick Starr on YouTube for years, so to see how far he's come and the fact that he now has his own beauty brand, you know, I think is really something when you can build a career, you know, just starting out. The majority of the people who started out on YouTube started out because they like makeup and they are inspired by it and so forth and so on. And the fact that people who just started out recording videos in their houses now have their own beauty brands, I think is an amazing thing. So he has two colors. He has this translucent, and then he has a medium deep one. I have the medium deep one, and that one is too deep for my skin complexion, so I would have to use translucent. And it looks like this. It has little dots for it to come out. I actually am going to put the top on and shake some out into the top and do it that way. Okay, so in the top, it's not white. So, there you go. So it's not white, which I actually like. When I think of translucent, I typically think like white. So it does have a bit of a tint to it, which I like. And I'm just going to use this puff that I bought from Amazon. So Rose and Ben Beauty, she recommends these puffs from Amazon all the time. I've never actually used them, so this is going to be my first time trying it, but she swears by them when putting on powder up under the eye, and how it just helps to make things flawless. There wasn't a specific brand that she recommended, so I just got the one that looked identical to the ones that she was using, and I think it does make a difference. I mean, you can use your sponge, but oh, I like this powder. If you're more of a pressed powder person, the LYS Beauty, that's the one that I've been faithfully using before. This Patrick, well, not Patrick Star, but One Size Beauty one, because this is my first time using it. So I bought it to use on my clients, and it did very well on my clients. A lot of my clients have more mature skin, so I was doing reviews for powders that do well on more mature skin, that don't settle in the fine lines and things of that nature, because that's very important when you have clients who have more mature skin. You do not want to use products on them that will accentuate any lines that they have, any wrinkles that they have on their skin. And I know, we all know, as you age, you're going to get, you know, more fine lines and wrinkles and things of that nature, but you don't necessarily want makeup to emphasize those lines. So so all I'm doing is I'm taking this, and this is the color translucent. Like I said, I was expecting it to be white, but it's got a yellow tint. So I'm just going in, setting my face in all the places that I would typically set with this powder. And I'm actually really a big fan of this. So this was the first item that I actually used on a client. I've only used it on one client. Before that, I have always used the Huda Beauty setting powders on my clients, and that's always been, I've always had good results with that one. So I've always stuck with that one for my clients. But I used the one size on the last client that I had, and she absolutely loved it. And my last client sweats, and so it held up really, really well. So like I said, I did the research, and for me, since I don't have a lot of fine lines and wrinkles, I didn't feel like I would be like a good person to use it on. And then nobody else in my family wears makeup, and since we're still, you know, adjusting back to the world after the pandemic, I'm not in contact with my family as frequently because of it. I talk to them on the phone, but I don't see them. So my mom would be my guinea pig that I would try this on, and she doesn't wear makeup, but I think for research's purposes, she would have at least tried this one. And since I can't get to her, I wasn't able to test it. But like I said, my client loved it. There were no issues, and this is the first time I'm using it on my face. Like I said, the color I used on her, I couldn't use on myself because it would be too dark, but I really like the way it looks. Like even up under my eyes, I feel like it's very, very settled, and I like that. So I'm going to use the Beautopsy palette by Hendash for my contour today. So I would say out of all the purchases that I have made in 2021, this is by far my absolute favorite purchase that I've made this year. I haven't bought a lot of makeup, but I love this palette, and you can see that it's loved. Like it's got smears everywhere, but I have no words. I just have no words. I think this idea of having slider colors is the best idea possible. So I'm going to use my Mary Kay cheek brush to do my contour today. And I think this is a dream in the sense, especially for people of color. The fact that you have these two colors so feel and real and intrafatum. These are by far my favorites in the palette because you have this brown right here, which you can lighten or make cooler with this gray color here. Same thing with down here, you have this chocolate brown next to black. So for people of deeper skin complexions, you can actually create the correct contour color. For people with deeper skin tones, you can actually contour somebody with this palette. It's useful. A lot of palettes that we have, either there's no color deep enough for people of color, or it's just one color and it's just not going to do anything for, it'll only do something for one person. This ideology of having a slider between chocolate brown and black gives you the ability to custom create the color you need for whatever your complexion is. Excuse me, and as you can see, this is a warm chocolate brown. You can mix in some of the gray to make it cooler, to make it a contour color. So that's one of the things that I love. I'm not a painter by any means, and so I'm not gonna lie, even though as much as I love it, I was very concerned when I got this. I was like, now I'm not a painter. Am I going to be able to, you know, customize the color? Am I going to be able to make a contour color out of this? Will I, you know, is there a learning curve with it? And it was no learning curve whatsoever. And it could just be because this color feel for me, I think is the perfect actual contour color for me. It's cool, so I don't have to like mix and match it. But even in the summer months, so I got this not too long after it was released, and um I haven't been out in the sun that much this year. And so when I finally got some sun and deepened up some, I still had this color Intra down here where I could use to make a contour color. So I didn't have to necessarily worry about that. So that was something that I was really appreciative to know, that I already had a palette where no matter if I tan or not, it's still a color for me in this palette. And then even if you're of a much fairer skin tone, the color up here, Tan Lines, there's a contour or bronzer color for you. I would say these are more along the lines of contour colors, but if you get a dab of this warm chocolate down here and lighten it up into tan up here, you can still have yourself a fantastic contour. So I can't rave enough about this palette. When I have friends who ask, you know, I need a palette, what do you recommend? I recommend this palette here, because this is a palette you can pick up and put in your purse and have everything you need. Like 2 blush colors here. You have these yellow colors, which apparently can be used for setting powders. And I did set my under eye with them. It was fine. I didn't have any issues. But if there's something like you need to go someplace, you can have a full face. Any of these are pressed pigments, which means they can be used all over the face. So you can use them for eyeshadow, setting powder, contour, whatever you need, you can use them for. They're not specifically made to be one item or another. And also blushes, so you can use this as an eyeshadow, use this as a blush. You have your contour colors here, and you can use your setting powders up here. So I have nothing but good things to say about this palette. If somebody is new to makeup and they don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on buying a contour, buying a blush, buying eyeshadow, and all of that. Now, granted, everything in here is matte, so if you want some sparkles, you'll have to purchase that separately. But I can honestly say this was the best amount of money that I spent this year, because I have gotten the most out of this palette this whole year. Out of all the palettes that I have had and that I purchased this year, this has been by far the one where I got the most use out of it. So again, I can't stop raving about it. I want to buy another one for my bag for my clients, because this one is just mine, and anything that's mine I don't use on my clients, so I need to buy a new one for them. But nothing but good things. Nothing but good things to say about this. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's worth every penny. Part of me wants to go a little bit darker. I don't know why I want to be extra contoured. The look I had in my head for today's look was very whimsical and ethereal, and now I don't know, I just want to be super contoured. I feel like that's what happens when you find a contour that you like. I feel like you contour more than what you normally would. Like if you have like a contour color that you like, you kind of just throw it on and go on about your business. But when you have one that you really like, I feel like you go the extra mile for that one. You just use it way more. All right, so now I'm done contouring. I was very heavy-handed with contour today, and I'm not mad about this whatsoever. I'm actually very happy. I'm going to take my 170 setting brush from Fenty Beauty, and I'm going to go back into the one size setting powder or translucent powder, and I'm gonna dust it all over my face. And like I did before, I just poured some in the top, and I'm just going to blend all over my face here. So before, typically for this step, I would use my Kosas Pillowy, what is it, the cloud set. That's what I would typically use before this one, but I'm trying to get a good idea of the extent that I can use this translucent powder. I only used it before on my client as an under eye setting. I didn't use it as an all over face setter, so I want to experiment to see how much and how far I can drive this particular product. And this is my first try with One Size Beauty at all. Like, I have none of their products that I've used prior to these that I have today. So this is really my first round with them. So I'm going to use for my setting spray today the On Till Dawn Mattifying Waterproof Setting Spray from One Size. So from Sephora's holiday sale, I got the little trial kit for One Size, which had the translucent spray, the primer, and this what did I just say? The setting spray, the translucent powder, and the primer, because I wanted to try it. And one thing that I will say now is, over the years, I won't say wasted, but I have spent so much money on products from Sephora, buying the full size of stuff when I should have really been buying the mini size. So that is my advice to you. If you are new to makeup, or if there's a makeup that you want to try, get it in the mini size, get it in the travel size if they have it, in order to experiment to see if you want it. Because I have bought stuff, you know. Oh, okay, that's got some straw. Okay, all right. And I'm just going to dab it on the bottom of the sponge like I usually do and press it into my skin. I think I could actually spray this on my face though. It's not wet. This is like this reminds me of a hairspray consistency, if that makes any sense. Like, most setting sprays are wet, kind of like you're misting your face, but this is very much like, it's like hairspray. Oh, my roommate would love this. She swears by using hairspray as a setting powder, or a setting spray, instead of like actual setting spray. She uses hairspray. So this and so she used it on me one day. I will tell you, your makeup will go nowhere. It will go nowhere if you use hairspray. But this reminds me very much of it. I think she would really, really like this. I might give this to her for Christmas. But I'll see how this holds up. Now, it's definitely mattifying. I can look at my face and see that I am mattified. So if you're a person who has oily skin, that might be a good setting spray for you, because it definitely mattifies the skin. And I actually would spray that on my face. If you've been following me for a long time, one of the reasons I spray setting spray onto the butt of my beauty sponge is because I don't like the wet droplets directly on my face, because it's wet. I don't like that feeling on my face for it to dry down. So I'd rather spray the bottom of the beauty blender than press it into my face. But that literally feels like air being blown on your face. So I'm almost at a loss for words, because that's not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but that wasn't it. So moving on, we'll move on to eyes. All right, so I'm back with my Fenty Beauty Amplifying Eye Primer today. I'm just going to spread that on my eyes here. Y'all, my makeup is looking really, really fierce. I think part of it is because my eyebrows are super, super dark. So for me, when my eyebrows are super dark, I feel like it makes the rest of my makeup look really, really intense. Um, so yeah, but also I feel like my foundation looks super flawless today. Like you have days when you put on makeup and you know your makeup is it's makeup, your own, you're put together. It doesn't necessarily look bad, but then you have days when you put on makeup and you're like, oh, okay, I see you today. That's how I feel. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm extra contoured today. My eyebrows are super dark that I'm just like, okay. Anywho, maybe that's just me. So, the star of today's show. So this is gonna be your BH Cosmetics August Peridot, and it's green. Green is my favorite color. All right, and these are the colors in this month's palette. I actually really like this month's palette, very much so, and this is actually truly Peridot. So I'm glad that the star of the show is the correct color this month. So as usual, I'm going to swatch them. This helps me to get through my thought process of what look that I want to do. I actually already had a look that I wanted to do in my head. Well, I thought I had a theme more so than a look. And so that's Peridot. So I actually really like that. The first when I looked at this palette, I was like, this is super ethereal. I really like this. This is the color Outgoing. So a mustard color. Okay. Then we have the color Generous. And when I think of these names, every month I think about that these names are supposed to be traits of the people who were born in this birthday month. And when I think of generous, my grandma was definitely very, very generous. I don't know if she was outgoing. I know my grandma liked to travel. So anytime when I was in school, I was in gospel choir. So whenever we would travel to sing, my grandma was in the car with my mom. They, out of all 4 years of high school, they did not miss a single show for all 4 years when I was in gospel choir, except the one where we went out of town to compete, because we literally like went out of the state to compete. So that's the only one that they did not come to, but any other one that I had, they were always there. So this color in the middle, oops, sorry, trying not to blind you guys with the mirror. This color is Independent. My grandma was definitely independent. My grandma did not start walking with a walker until she was in her 90s. So she was in good health all the way up, like right before she passed away. She was sick for maybe about 2 weeks before she passed away, but before that she was in good health, took care of herself, cooked for herself, like nothing, like she was on it. The next color is Enthusiastic. Okay, I like that color. My grandma was definitely enthusiastic. I feel like passionate would be a better word. If it was something that my grandma truly believed in, she spared no words about what she believed in and why she believed it. And yeah. And then this next color here is Brave. She was definitely brave. Definitely said what she had to say. Didn't care if it hurt your feelings. Oh, I like that color. That's a nice forest green. Her intent was to, if it was something to better you or something for your own good, you would hear it. Even if it hurt your feelings a little bit, if it would help you advance as a person, then it was going to be there. Like, she was brave. If something was wrong, she would not turn the other way. She would tell you what you did was wrong and why it was wrong, and so forth and so on. And then Spirited is this last color. So, whew, This one is super pigmented. Usually any other time I pick these colors up, they don't show up. This one came up really well. Yes. So I actually really like this palette. So like I said, I was thinking very ethereal with this palette. Upon swatching the colors, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do, you guys. I have no idea. Literally no idea what I'm gonna do. Ah. Like, I have so many thoughts in my mind, and then at the same time I have no thoughts on how to put them together. So first, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go into the color Peridot and put that on my eyelids. I like that. I like that a lot. I really like this color a lot. To me, this is like a wearable green, iridescent green. Sometimes in palettes, like your green may be a little bit off-putting, anything, because this to me is like a neon green, but I actually really like this. This is a very wearable green. And so I'm gonna go into, if I can find the right brush here, I'm gonna go into my small blending brush, and that was a flat shader brush from, don't know what I picked up now, but this is the small blending brush from color Rain. I'm gonna go into the color, I'm gonna try Outgoing. So that's this yellow color here, and I'm gonna put that in my crease first. Typically, in my crease, I try to use like a brown or like a mauve color, but since there's a yellow in the palette, I'm gonna use that. Yellow is not a color that I see often in palettes, and it's not necessarily a color that I wear that often either, to be honest. And I like the fact that this is a mustard color, because mustard still has, even though it's more on the yellow side, it still has like a brown tint to it. Oh, I like that very much. And I don't plan on doing like anything super exciting with this look. Usually in every palette, I try to use the sparkle color. I don't know if that's necessarily going to fit this aesthetic today, but I will still try to bring it in. I might just do it on my tear duct. I like that. I like that this is very simple, but I like it. Very ethereal, very lightweight. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the glitter color Spirited, and I'm just going to put that in my inner tear duct. If I had to say something that I have really grown to love this year, is really highlighting my inner tear duct. I just think it opens up your eyes so much when you give your inner tear duct some attention. It doesn't have to be a lot, but I still think it gives some vibrance to the look. All right, so that's all I'm gonna do for that color. All right, and then on my lower lash line here, I'm gonna go into that dark color Brave over here. Just gonna take the other end of my Mary Kay eyebrow and eyeliner brush, and I'm just going to pick it up, and then I'm literally just gonna go directly to my waterline and just stamp it right up under my waterline. One of the things I've really gotten away from this year is actually lining my waterline. I don't do it that often anymore because I feel like putting a darker color right in your lash line, right up under it, serves the same purpose. So that's what I've been doing. And that also gives me the chance, like, sometimes I feel like when I put on black eyeliner, it's a little bit too intense for me. I would prefer like a brown eyeliner, but I haven't necessarily found a brown eyeliner that I can put in my waterline that really gives me like the intensity that I want. Like, it's not dark enough. I don't need it to be like black, but I want it to be brown enough for it to show up. I really like this. And I think this look is so simple. If you wanted to add a wing, you could. I don't plan on adding a wing. Looks like got some over here anyway. But yeah, if you really wanted to like liven it up some, you could add a wing at the end. All right, you guys, and so that's the final look for this month. I didn't want anything super intense, and I wanted it to be light and ethereal. And so I'm just gonna go into my Sky High mascara, which I think I'm almost actually out. This is the first time I've used mascara to the point where I'm almost actually out of it, you guys. So that's saying something. And so I'm not going to put any falsies on today. Like I said, I wanted it to be very ethereal. I know that, you know, there are eyelashes out there that that are very lightweight and can attribute to the ethereal aesthetic, but I just don't want to wear falsies today. Oh, I love this mascara. Y'all see the difference just that quick? I really want the Peridot to be the star of the show. I think it's such a light and airy color, and I don't want it to get lost behind any eyelashes or anything of that nature. And I apologize if you hear like the cars outside. I just love how this mascara brings my eyelashes alive, you guys. So coat 2. And I did not curl my lashes before. This is all from the mascara itself. is the final look for the eyes. So next we're going to do lips. And I'm just wiping off the dead skin from the scrub. All right. And so the color that I picked today is not an ethereal color. I'm choosing this hot pink color. It is a Fenty Beauty color in Unlocked. And this is me thinking of my grandma. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't think red would be fitting for this look. So I was trying to think of another color that would go with the look that I wanted to. And I could do a pastel pink, but I don't like pastel pink. So I'm going with the color, this Future Pink in, what did I say it was? Unlocked. So these are the Stunner Paint lip colors. So it's this fuchsia color, which I actually really like. I am a person who really likes lip color. And so I love bright lip colors. I absolutely love bright lip colors. And typically when I wear brighter colors, I will go in with a brush to paint in the color. Just because I like precision. Also these Stunner lip paint, so one of the things with these Stunner lip paints is that they can get out of control very, very quickly. And when you use the applicator to put them on, it has so much product on it. So you need to wipe it off in the well before you apply it. And I still find even then it's still so much product on it. So I typically go in, put some on the back of my hand and use a brush to go in and apply the color. And then that way, number one, it doesn't take so long to dry. And then I can apply with precision the way that I want it to apply. So I actually really like that. I thought it would be too much, but I really like it. And then that way you don't have to blot off. When I would use the applicator and put it directly on, it would take so long for it to dry. And I would just be smearing it everywhere. So over the years, I learned some tips and tricks. Just put it on the back of your hand, use a brush to apply it, and it will already be drying down as it applies. So you won't have to blot if you don't want to. And then next we'll be moving on to blush. So today we'll be using the Pat McGrath Celestial Divine Blush Glow Trio in Amber Allure. So you guys, Pat McGrath. I love Pat McGrath. Absolutely love Pat McGrath. But Pat McGrath is expensive. So she is like the luxury brand. She's a Black-owned business, and I love to support Black-owned business. So she's like Black-owned business Givenchy level or Yves Saint Laurent level. And so the only things that I have actually purchased from her is the foundation, which is $65, the concealer, which I think is like $32, and then I've gotten her eyeliners, and I've gotten one lip color from her. And so everything that I have bought from her, I absolutely love. I have no issues with it. When these blushes as individual pans were released, I wanted to buy them. However, I'm not on anybody's PR list. And so when I buy makeup, I'm very cognizant of how much that I'm spending of my own money. I tend to spend more on foundations because I know that I will wear my foundations more than anything. Eyeshadows, I still have a bracket with eyeshadows. And I also think a foundation, that's what you're putting on your skin. Now, your eyeshadow and stuff goes onto your skin, but your foundation is like going over your whole face. So I want to invest the money into something that I feel like is not going to break me out, where I'm not going to have any issues, because it's literally going on my whole face. Eyeshadow just goes on a part of your face. Blush just goes on a part of your face. Everything else we do just goes on a part of your face, not your whole face. So I'm willing to spend more and research more to have better products in foundation because it covers my whole face, and I know that I'm also very sensitive to things. So I research and try to buy items that I know are not going to break me out and have skin loving properties. With blush is a hit or miss for me. So for me, I'm more apt to buy a blush in a palette, because if I'm going to spend $30 or $40 on something, I don't want to spend $30 or $40 on one blush. I will spend $50 on a blush palette that has 6 colors in it. That makes logical sense to me versus spending $40 on one. So when she released her singles, I was like, oh, this is exciting, but I'm just not going to spend $40 on a single blush. I've done that in the past, and I just don't wear blush enough to spend that much money on one item. So when it was announced that these trios were coming out, I was super, super excited because I really wanted these blushes, and thankfully, try not to blind you guys, it came with the 2 colors that I wanted. So we have Paradise Venus, Venus Nectar here, and then it came with a new highlighter color called Love Struck. So I was excited. So I think this was $59 for 3 items, if I remember, $52. And I got it during Sephora's holiday sale. And then as of right now, Pat McGrath is having a sale for Thanksgiving. So this was the time I decided to buy, because I actually am more inclined to buy more items on sale than I will full price, because you can get more for your money. And for me, who is a person, I love wearing makeup and I love doing tutorials. I don't wear makeup looks like this every day. I have more neutral and daily looks that are more office appropriate. Like I could wear this to the office maybe on a Friday, but I would have to get rid of this little glitter section here. But I just tend to wear more office appropriate looks. So with that being said, I don't wear bright eyeshadows that often. So, and like I said, since I'm not on PR and I'm paying for these things out of pocket, I have to be more aware and cognizant of the money that I'm spending to put towards makeup. So I'm excited about this, and I think because my lips are so bright, I'm going to go with Paradise Venus today. And from what I've heard, and I'm using, it's my Ray Ray brush. I don't think this is available at BH Cosmetics anymore. These are super, super pigmented. So I already know to go in with a big fluffy brush. You can see this is just me literally tapping. I'm already aware to be light-handed with these blushes from all the reviews and things that I've seen of these, because I have to say these look so pretty that I was tempted, so tempted to go ahead and buy at least one of these individually, and I was just like, no, that's not. I have real life bills, so this is my hobby that I do that does not pay bills, so I have to be realistic with my money. So I'm glad that they did come out in a trio, because this is more bang for my buck and I can still support Black owned businesses. So I like that. I like that a lot. So what I'll do is, if you're curious to see what these colors look like, I'll go ahead and swatch them. So this is Venus Nectar here. And I don't, can y'all see the embossing? It's so pretty. So Venus Nectar. So that's just me barely swirling in the pan. So I'm gonna swipe that here. And then the one that I put on, which was Paradise Venus. So this is more of a terracotta color, which I like. That's that color. And then Love Struck over here. And this looks to be more of like a rose gold. So we'll swipe that right there. Yeah, I like that. That's very muted. So they do, this is one of the trios. They have another trio. I don't remember the name of that one, but that one has lighter colors in the trio. And these two were the pans that had the darker colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little fan brush here. And this is a random fan brush that I bought at a beauty supply store. I just thought it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. Therefore, I got it for like $2. So I'm just literally going to go in the pan just a little bit, tap off any excess. And I'm just literally just going to tap right here on the highlights of my cheek. And I'm not looking to be super glowy today. Any other time, y'all know me, I want to be seen from outer space, but today's focus are the eyes, and I want to leave it as such. Probably should use my finger right there because I don't want to smudge anything. A little highlight there, a little on my finger, to put on my Cupid's bow, just like that. And so this is it. What do you guys think? Spray down with some hairspray. No, it's really not hairspray, but the one actual like spray that I will actually spray on my face, because it feels like I'm spraying air. So that's that's saying a lot, because y'all know I don't do that. So I'll be back with the finished look, you guys. All right, you guys, so this is the final look. What do you think? I think with the big hoops and the freshly blown dried big hair and the bright lip, this is giving me 70s vibe with a nice little crossover halter top. Yeah, this is giving me very 70s, and I'm here for it. I don't think this is a look that you see that often, with a bold lip and a bold eye. While this is not the boldest eye, it's still very striking in the sense that the Peridot color, your eyes are immediately drawn to it. So it's not the brightest color, but it's still bright nonetheless, with your little glitter highlight in the inner corner. So I'm a really big fan. I love how this turned out. And thank you so much for rocking with me through this whole tutorial. I know I talked a lot, but thank you so much for joining. Please subscribe and give me your comments below. Until the next time, I'll see you in September. Bye.